create the recipe for success. The time by Sagicor Bank is
7.
Hey, what I want?
Hi, I am Candy Pang.
What a guan?
What I want?
That I go on pa.
What I want? What I want?
What a one! Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m.
on CVM TV.
What I want? What I want?
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
CVM News at 7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, Nurses Association boss says chronic overcrowding in UHWI's Accident and Emergency Department led to today's protest. Meanwhile, acting UHWI CEO says the protest action has been suspended and the nurses are back at work. And another accountability watchdog is calling on the Prime Minister to act in the Dr. Andrew Wheatley illicit enrichment controversy. In the business report, magnifying small-scale entrepreneurs, JSE micro-market launch. And in sports, Ronaldo's double headlines Portugal's 5-star performance.
Make the rules. Football, better with Pepsi.
Tune in to Lead Story, weekdays at 6 p.m. Hosted by Jodi-Ann Quarrie.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m.
CVM News at 7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orrett, and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's a live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
CVM News at 7 Tuesday, brought to you by
KFC. For the moments that are best enjoyed with your hands, KFC, it's finger licking good.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for Tuesday, June 23, 2026. I'm Nika Lewis. Thank you for joining us. We need more space. That's the cry from the Nurses Association of Jamaica tonight, as nurses at the University Hospital of the West Indies staged a protest this morning due to chronic overcrowding in the Accident and Emergency Department at the Regional Teaching Hospital. Akeem Orrett has more in this report.
Industrial action by nurses at the University Hospital of the West Indies has once again placed the spotlight on long-standing concerns within the country's healthcare system. The development has renewed questions about the conditions under which healthcare workers operate, the impact on patient care, and the measures required to address the concerns being raised. President of the Nurses Association of Jamaica, Dawn Marie Richards, says the main concern for nurses at the Type A Regional Referral Hospital is space within the Accident and Emergency Department.
But the amount of patients that are in the area is a very bad part. Now the facility, the area and the facility is supposed to be hosting maximum 35 patients. And today they had 102 in there. And what they are complaining about is the fact that to provide care for clients, there's no privacy. There's no space between clients for staff to go in and care for people.
These concerns, the NAJ president says, have been brought to the attention of hospital management, but
there's nothing to say to them, we are able to help you in this manner or that manner. In relation to what has been escalated to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the University Hospital has its own structure. So they would go through their CEO, go up to their board, and the board to the Minister of Health.
The A&D unit at the UHWI, which is designed to host 35 patients, reportedly had up to 102 Tuesday morning. The NAJ president says while space is limited, patients should not be turned away.
We cannot turn away patients. We are not allowed to do that. You can't do that. If somebody comes to you and they are not well, and you know that they are not well, you see that they are not well, you can't turn them back.
The NAJ president also pointed to other facilities across the country experiencing similar challenges. On January 16 this year, nurses and doctors attached to the A&E department at the Cornwall Regional Hospital protested over conditions at the facility. Ms. Richards is again appealing for additional bed spaces.
People are getting sick. We don't have any control over that. People are getting sick. I know that the Ministry of Health and Wellness has their wellness program that they are pushing for people to know their numbers and keep healthy, but that is a mindset. If in my mind I have not taken on the challenge to be well or to do well for myself, I'm going to be sick.
Akeem Orrett for CVM News.
And in the meantime, Acting Chief Executive Officer of the University Hospital of the West Indies, Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Sidney Powell, says the protest has been suspended and nurses are back at work. Speaking on CVM's lead story with Jodi-Ann Quarrie moments ago, the acting CEO says administration has since met with the nurses and all concerns were addressed.
There are two issues. One concern the working environment, and the other one is the overcrowding, and both are connected. You can't separate both. Agreed? So what happened? The working environment consisted now of the nursing lounge, which we addressed it. The other one concerned the direct environment and the overcrowding. So clearly we had to address both, and that was done successfully today. These patients were actually triaged, diagnosed, and were awaiting admission to the various specialty wards, right? And of course, now the specialty that accounts for the largest number of our patients requiring specialist care are the patients going to the general medicine service specialty. And this accounted for roughly about 90% of our patients. Some specifics, though, in the emergency room concern a spillover area in the emergency room that deals with our more critically ill patients. Of course, the stretchers were full, and our emergency holding area as well was full.
In other news now, the Financial Investigations Division, FID, has reportedly informed the Integrity Commission that there is no viable or credible basis for it to launch an investigation into the statutory declarations of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. According to a letter dated September 30, 2025, the FID said an extensive review found no reasonable prospect of obtaining evidence to support criminal charges against the Prime Minister. The agency also reportedly criticized the Integrity Commission's handling of the matter, arguing that the public nature of the probe risked prejudicing the investigation and did not align with international best practices. The Integrity Commission has reportedly asked the FID to reconsider its position, but it is believed the agency is unlikely to change its stance. CVM TV reached out to the Chief Technical Director at the FID, Dennis Chung, who advised that the division had no comment on the matter. The Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, JAMP, is calling on Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness to act following the Integrity Commission's recommendation that charges be brought against Cabinet Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley. JAMP says the findings outlined in the report warrant decisive leadership and accountability. More in this report from Kevin Black.
The Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, JAMP, is calling on Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness to take decisive action following the Integrity Commission's recommendation that charges be filed against Cabinet Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley. Executive Director of JAMP, Janet Calder, says the allegations, particularly the recommendation of a charge for illicit enrichment, represent one of the most serious corruption-related findings to emerge from Jamaica's anti-corruption framework.
I cannot recall since the operationalizing of the Integrity Commission when any public official has actually been recommended and will be charged, meaning prosecuted, meaning will have to face the court for illicit enrichment.
Calder notes that the Integrity Commission Act creates a range of offences for public officials, including failures to comply with legal obligations and other breaches of the law.
The Integrity Commission Act has several different offences, several different things a public official can do or should do and does not do that we consider to be an offence under the law. And as you can see, what is being recommended here are 4 different types. And just to make it short, there's one example of you not giving all the information that's asked for, offence. You misleading or falsifying a statement, an offence. And over the last 8 years, we have seen different public officials who are being figured for those kinds of offences.
She argues that the Prime Minister should follow the standard he has previously set in responding to allegations of misconduct against public officials.
In 2018, when there was no such charges, Mr. Wheatley resigned, and I'm sure after our conversation with the Prime Minister, we have had J.C. Hutchinson, I think, in 2020, for misleading the public about his spouse benefiting from a lease. We have had Floyd Green with conduct. None of these rose to the level of the charges that we're seeing here. And Dr. Holness supported the accountability and the sanctions that were levied against these ministers. So then I can't understand how our Prime Minister would explain to the public for a lesser charge, accepting removal from office, but for one of the worst charges, there could possibly be a justification for him to remain.
Kevin Black, CVM News.
CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
that are best enjoyed with your hands. Enjoy them with a KFC Big Deal or Big Bucket. KFC, it's
Employers, once a month, you have the power to shape Jamaica's future. By paying your hard 3% contribution, you're not just contributing, you're investing in people, in skills, in our economy. Your hard contribution trains working-age Jamaicans, aligns programs with workforce needs, and secures our future. That's not just contribution, it's transformation. Contribute to heart and to your future.
Watagwan. Watagwan.
Datagwan.
Watagwan.
Watagwan. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
Datagwan for Watagwan.
Thanks so much for staying with us. The results of the primary exit profile PEP examinations have been released, determining the placement of grade 6 students into secondary schools across Jamaica. Reactions to the results are now emerging from stakeholders, including students, parents, and educators. Carla Ramdeen reports.
The results from the primary exit profile PEP examinations, which places grade 6 students in high schools, was released on Monday. The exam was sat by students island-wide on April 29 and 30, 2025, in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Following the results, the Ministry of Education announced that 90% of students were placed in a school of their choice.
99% of those registered were placed. And please do not call me later about a transfer. I shall be turning off my phone. All right. 90% were placed in their school, a school of their choice.
CVM took to the streets of Halfway Tree to gauge the public's reaction to the PEP results.
Excellent. Why? Because most of whoever I know, they got their choices, some got their second choices, which is very good. Because in spite of the hurricane, they still push forward.
Because so far is a lot of passes. Is a lot of passes in this 2026 with all the Melissa and every little thing.
The PEP results to me was very good because with Melissa and what it has done to the children, to be very honest, it was devastating. My niece still haven't get over it. At times she rewatched the videos. As we all know, the place has not come back to what it was, and we don't think it will ever come back, but we have hope. And I'm so grateful that the kids did not let Melissa do a good job, because they really did a good job.
In the meantime, principal of the Destiny Academy and Preparatory School in Hopewell, Hanover, Simone Murdoch, says teachers and students are in a celebratory mood after the institution scored a perfect 100% pass rate on the PEP exams.
Oh, we are so excited here about the product of our students. Even though we were inexperienced in this area, we decided to do our research. We persevered through the odds, and with hard work and dedication and consistent encouragement and support from our teaching staff and our parents, our children produced great results.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
A conflict of interest in the matter involving Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and former People's National Party electoral candidate Paul Buchanan led to the adjournment of the case today in the Court of Appeal. Mr. Buchanan is seeking to have the general elections results overturned. The case will next be heard on June 27. Crystal Williams tells us more.
Supporters showed up at the Court of Appeal to back former PNP candidate Paul Buchanan for his Tuesday morning hearing in the appellate court. The case being heard is between Paul Buchanan and Jamaica Labour Party JLP leader Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, who both contested the St. Andrew West Central seat in the country's 2025 general elections. On September 3, at the end of the final electoral count, the returning officer returned Dr. Holness as the winner of the constituency contest. Several days later, on September 16, Mr. Buchanan submitted an official request to the constituted authority asserting that serious irregularities and malpractice occurred on election day, compromising the fairness and integrity of that election in a substantial way. His request was made under Section 52A3 of the Representation of the People Act, ROPA, seeking that the constituted authority apply to the election court to void the taking of the poll held on September 3. Then, on September 30, the authority determined that it would not apply to the election court to void the result of the election, as it had determined that the alleged irregularities did not satisfy the standard contemplated by Section 37E of the Election Petitions Act, EPA, nor had the alleged irregularities satisfied the statutory standard. Mr. Buchanan is challenging that decision. Hugh Wildman is his attorney.
Well, the matter was adjourned because one member of the panel of judges made a statement that she knew Mr. Buchanan from some time ago in a professional capacity.
Mr. Wildman says they were prepared to go on with the proceedings.
We were prepared to go on if the other side was willing to do so, but the other side seemed to be objective.
Nonetheless, the attorney says their confidence has not wavered.
We remain confident that Mr. Buchanan has a very, very strong case.
The matter returns to court on June 27. Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
Jamaica's political map is poised for reshaping as lawmakers move to kickstart the next Constituency Boundaries Review. Parliament's Constituency Boundaries Committee has been debating how far the Electoral Commission of Jamaica should go in its preliminary work, including whether existing seats should be realigned or restructured. Kevin Black tells us more.
Jamaica's constituency boundaries are set for a major review as Parliament moves to instruct the Electoral Commission of Jamaica to begin preliminary work on the next redistricting process. Parliament's Constituency Boundaries Committee met on Tuesday to consider a letter from the ECJ, which outlined the legal requirement for a periodic review of electoral divisions between April 2026 and March 2028. Committee member Everald Warmington argued that the Electoral Commission should be allowed to proceed with the review while considering possible realignment of existing boundaries.
The issue is whether or not we're going to have the constituency numbers increase, where the provision for 65 constituencies, we now have 63. Is there a need for the other two constituencies, one? Or the other alternative, whether we are going to realign the existing boundaries. I think recommendation is for as they ask, to realign boundaries where it's necessary.
Meanwhile, committee member Dr. Dayton Campbell later weighed in, expressing support for allowing the Electoral Commission to begin its process, while seeking early clarity on the direction of the review.
I think it would actually be appropriate for them to say what their thinking is, what anomalies they are seeing, and what's the proposed approach that they want to take. To be frank, I would prefer if we were to invite them and for them to put that on the record at the outset.
And the committee chair Juliet Holness also entered the discussion, seeking clearer information on identified anomalies and whether the commission could present early findings to guide the review process.
Hearing from Member Jackson and listening to everybody, I am suggesting that we ask the ECJ to identify the anomalies before they come to the next meeting.
If there are any.
If there are any. So the recommendation is, what anomalies have you identified? What are the limit breaches that you have identified? So they come to us with something instead of nothing at all. What is their projected timeline generally for their technical work on average based on their experience?
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
The legal and humanitarian questions surrounding the recent arrival of Haitian migrants in Portland are now under the microscope. CVM News spoke with international human rights attorney at law Melania Lane for her legal perspectives on the rights of the migrants and Jamaica's obligations to them under the law. Kevin Black has more.
The legal framework surrounding the recent arrival of Haitian migrants in Portland is under scrutiny. as questions arise about their rights while in custody and the process required before they're repatriated. Attention is also on how Jamaican law distinguishes between undocumented migrants, asylum seekers, and refugees. International human rights attorney at law, Malenia Lane, explains what rights the Haitian migrants are entitled to while they remain in state custody.
They have a range of rights that seek to guarantee a fair process and to protect them from inhumane treatment. And so they have a right to access an attorney so that they can in turn access remedies. They have a right to appear before a court before any decision is taken that would negatively impact their rights. If they're being charged with a criminal offense, they have a right to be promptly brought before the court to know the charges against them. Our Constitution prohibits torture, and so by extension, we can't send persons back to a place where there is a substantial risk of them being tortured.
She also outlines the legal steps that must be taken and the considerations authorities must weigh before any decision is made to repatriate the migrants to Haiti.
Under the Constitution, as I said, everyone has a right to access the courts. Everyone has a right to a fair process. And included in that right to a fair process is the right to be heard. And so before these persons are sent back to Haiti, I would urge the government to allow them to be heard by the court before any decision is taken to expel them.
And finally, Alain breaks down the key distinctions between undocumented migrants, asylum seekers, and refugees, and why those differences are important in determining how such cases are handled under Jamaican law.
It just so happens that persons fleeing persecution, asylum seekers, because of the urgency of the situation, it so happens that some of them enter through irregular channels because of force of circumstance. And so there is this overlapping between the concept of an undocumented migrant and an asylum seeker. But not every undocumented migrant is an asylum seeker, and not every asylum seeker is undocumented.
Kevin Black for CVM News.
Meanwhile, Jamaica's tourism sector is back on the rebound after a battering from Hurricane Melissa in 2025. Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett, in his sectoral address, lauded workers and visitors for restoring confidence to the sector. This as the portfolio minister announced what he's describing as the government's Tourism 3.0 vision, designed to bring more than just arrivals, but robust economic growth to Jamaica's shores. More in this report. East Central St. James Member of Parliament and Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett, in his sectoral presentation, notes that Hurricane Melissa dealt a massive blow to Jamaica's tourism sector, leaving many hotel workers and hotels on the brink of ruin. But things are rebounding thanks to the trust and confidence, which saw support from visitors and workers alike.
However, Melissa did not break the Jamaican industry. It revealed the strength of the system we had been building. Through coordinated action by government, industry partners, workers, and communities, Jamaica's tourism industry officially opened on December 15, 2025. When I said we would open 6 weeks after the hurricane, on December 15th, everybody thought I needed to be checked.
Minister Bartlett highlighted the December 15 reopening of the sector, credited workers, hoteliers, and even visitors who helped rebuild. However, the tourism minister says he is well aware of the need to rebuild stronger, and that's where his newly unveiled Tourism 3.0 plan comes into play.
Tourism 3.0 will move from policy language to institutional action. Yes. And we will ensure that the outcome from this great industry will inure to the people of Jamaica, and we will change the name and the reference from being an extractive industry to be an extracting industry for the people of Jamaica.
And the tourism minister also shared plans to introduce a patient mortgage initiative to further ensure hotel workers can own homes in Jamaica.
And Madam Speaker, beyond that is the Tourism Housing Development Program, which already 3,000 houses are under construction for workers. We are also going to require that every investor that comes to Jamaica building 500 rooms or more must have a provision for housing for the workers of the industry. The final step, Madam Speaker, is a discussion which we have commenced with some of the mortgage houses in the country to look at something we call patient mortgage. Patient mortgage, to allow for the tourism worker who, because of the structure of income, and perhaps not able to bring all their income into one package, will be able to have a longer mortgage so that they could pay a lower rate and be able to access housing in Jamaica. But that's a study and discussion which is on. The final area for worker labor market ecosystem that we're working on is a HMO. And having looked at how our tourism pension scheme funding is accreting, we are looking down the road to see how we can look at now a health plan for the workers of the tourism industry.
Stay with us. CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
For the moments that are best enjoyed with your hands, enjoy them with a KFC Big Deal or Big Bucket. KFC, it's finger licking good. The time by KFC is
7:30.
For the moments that are best enjoyed with your hands, enjoy them with a KFC Big Deal or Big Bucket. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Thanks so much for staying with us. It's now time for Business Report with Joel Crosskill.
A list of things to share with you in the business report today about a development that's in the details of an issue designed for the advance of Jamaica's capital markets at an unprecedented scale, as the fine print of the future growth of an underserved but deserving demographic of Jamaican entrepreneurs is finally made visible during the official launch of the JSE Micro Market, led by Livingston Morrison, Group Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
The true measure of an exchange's health is whether year after year new entities continue to see the exchange as a natural venue through which to raise capital. The micro market is an extension, of course, of the purpose, widening access to capital formation for the smallest enterprises among us in a manner that is just as fair, just as transparent, and rules-based as every other market we operate. Entrepreneurs and established businesses alike continue to see the exchange as a natural home for patient capital. And it's such a perfect moment for Minister Hill to walk in.
On what has not been an easy road, but certainly a rewarding one, according to the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce.
Because we're closing a gap that has stood between promising small Jamaican businesses and the capital they need to grow. As Minister, I meet entrepreneurs with factory floors running, order books growing, and products that can compete anywhere in the world. Yet too many must either borrow against everything they own or remain small. In this gap, businesses stall, jobs are not created, and export earnings never really materialize. It gives a company raising between 50 and 100 million Jamaican dollars a real regulated path to reasonable and patient equity capital, with a sponsor and a mentor walking beside the investor and a clear pathway to graduate to the junior market and beyond. This is important financial architecture.
The decision to go micro was also informed by the success of the junior market, as recognized by Finance Minister Favour Williams, whose endorsement of that market helped elevate the capital raising limit for those listed from 500 million to 750 million Jamaican dollars.
We launch a new opportunity, a new pathway, and for thousands of Jamaican entrepreneurs, a new possibility that fuels resilience, unlocks opportunities, and accelerates growth across Jamaica's micro and emerging enterprise sectors. It is a national development strategy that in Jamaica, no business with the potential is too small to succeed. So let us embrace this opportunity, support our entrepreneurs, and build a capital market that reflects the full strength of our people.
The minister shared some of the incentives now in place for those interested in listing on the JSE's newest platform.
Companies that list on the micro market will benefit from one of our most compelling incentives in our investment landscape. Ready for that? It's a full income tax holiday for the first 5 years after listing. Followed by a 50% income tax concession for years 6 through 10. So this is encouragement. So companies must have a minimum of 3 independent directors. It is mandatory that you have an audit committee. You must have strong financial oversight, and importantly, each company must have a sponsor. The sponsor is very vital. This is not just a financier, but a strategic partner. Upon raising capital on the micro market, we're expecting companies to expand, to export, to invest, and to employ more persons. Right. Yeah, you have to do that.
IDB Group Country Representative to Jamaica, Natasha Marzolf, spoke to the resolution the JSE's innovation may now provide even beyond the domestic context.
On behalf of the IDB Group, I really would like to commend Jamaica for this bold initiative, transformative initiative, one with the potential to become a flagship for the Caribbean. It reflects momentum, vision, and innovation.
Jamaican entrepreneurs are now being encouraged to examine how opportunities for their enterprise are being magnified by the move.
Mr. Morrison is telling me that they have identified 10 companies preparing to enter this market. This is real. This is happening.
And I look forward to watching the first cohort of micro-market companies ring this market's bell.
And that was your business report.
We now turn to regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. Grenadans will have to wait a bit longer to learn when a general election will be called following a major rally on Sunday. Prior to the rally, there was some expectation that an election date would be announced, but that was not the case.
So when I tell you you are writing your manifesto, you understand, and I'm saying there will be no change in government for the next 5 years. There will be no change in the party that is going to run this country for the next 5 years.
In international news, US President Donald Trump has told reporters outside the White House that International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors will be heading